welcome to Reality After Show, coverage of the Challenge Season 40. And oh boy, do we have a recap for you tonight. We're talking Episode 5. I'm your host, Dan Montchal, joined, as always, Alex Trias, Paulie Calafiore. Paulie, I don't know if you've gotten there yet, but I think this is the time of the pod where you zen up and you may need a few this week.
Oh, I'm going to need a few. And it's funny you mentioned it because I always got them ready to go. We're going a little cool mint today.
There you go.
Had to up it. You know, I've been on the 3 mgs for a hot minute. Had to up it to the 6 mgs because, see, we got some stuff to talk about. Might have to do. I'm doubling up.
I don't think it's
there. You go.
We're going a lower and an upper decky here. We're not even playing around.
And boy, yeah, back off of the VMAs break. And where do you want to start with this episode, boys? Do we want to get right into it? Do we want to leave it for later?
Listen, we're just going to come in hot. We're coming in hot. We know what the people want us to talk about. And you know, we're people pleasers here. We're like the Michelle Fitzgeralds of the challenge. We just like to people please.
To a fault. We love to please the people.
To a fault, guys. And to a fault. You know, guys, if you're watching this might be the one that you want to screen record. You know, I know you guys like to do that, post it on social media to get the clickbait. This is the one.
Yeah. So let's go right into it. Obviously, we have all the other stuff. There's a challenge. People go home. Like, big people go home, but it's all overshadowed because of the 30 minutes that is Laurel, Cara Maria, Michelle. Let's start from the top. So it all starts with Laurel, like, I guess, like, trying to be friendly, how she likes to be friendly, which is slapping a bunch of people and thinking Michelle was someone else. Which causes a conversation between her and Michelle, where Michelle once again is trying to squash this like pseudo beef that is extremely one-sided from Laurel, where Laurel does a lot of tactics that we have seen in recent and in the past that she has used on Cara Maria. So we see her trying to break it down, trying to make it seem like it's Michelle who's at fault, not Laurel. It's one-sided from Michelle's side, not from her. You betrayed me because you nominated me while I was still trying to gauge you. While in my notes, I even have like, Laurel, that whole season you were being cold as fuck to her. So like, why would Michelle not want to protect you when you're being a bitch? Like, so it all escalates to that point. You have Cara on the side, like sort of listening in and sort of like internally is realizing this is the same thing. This is the same exact shit that I've been going through for nearly like 20 years, really, with Laurel. So let's break down that part first.
You know, I think it's safe to say that Laurel has honed in on her new Cara. Okay, and that is Michelle. A lot of the same qualities that Cara had in the beginning of her career. Okay. Meek, wanting to please everybody, never really wanted to make people upset, got into the arguments, so forgiving in terms of like, oh, okay, it is just a game, right? Like when you fall back into that. But there, and I say this all the time, there's a big difference between game, real life, between personal, and what's actually there at stake. And what we're seeing here is the beginning of that process, right? In relationships, right? In abusive relationships, let's just call it what it is. There's a pattern, right, of toxicity, right? Mm-hmm. And there's the act, then there's the gaslighting to pull you back in, then there's the love bombing to pull you back in, and then the cycle continues, right? Until somebody breaks the cycle. Now, the cycle could be broken 2 different ways. Either the person that is on the receiving end of it says, I'm done, I'm fed up with this, I'm out. Or the person that does it has some kind of epiphany, usually never happens. With narcissists, tends to never happen. And the cycle gets broken because that person realizes, oh, wait, hold on. I may be part of the problem. I could be part of the problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what we're literally seeing here is, in a way, past and present Cara, okay? And now we're seeing the reaction of what actually happens in those types of relationships when the person wants to break free, okay? So here we are. Laurel no longer has that control over Cara, okay? The final straw was, okay, so after I thought our beef was squashed on All Stars 4 and that it was just from a competitive standpoint, it's actually not. This is
Right.
okay. And Cara, now that she's outside of it, is able to look and see, holy shit, now that I'm outside of it, I can see this happening to somebody else. So I'm going to step in and I'm not going to allow this to happen with Michelle. Once again, Michelle has those same qualities. She will allow it to happen over and over again because she just wants to be friends with everybody. She wants to play the game, right? Because she's there for the game, number one, right? Cara was always there for the game, number one. But at the end of the day, when the game's done, they just want to be liked. And, you know, Cara's in a different point in her life where she doesn't really care about being liked. She's just going to be who she is. And if you accept it, you do. If you don't, you don't, right? Michelle's not at that point yet, okay? And we see that because given all that happened in the few seasons that they did together, Michelle's already trying to be like, hey, what's your problem? You're giving me bad vibes, you know? And, like, once again, like, that was happening, okay?
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, you know, guys, but if we all walk into a room together and you both say hi to me and I look at you, Alex, and I just go, oh my God, how's it going? And then I just look at Dan and I'm just like, and then just like that, clearly there's a fucking issue. Or like if Dan says hi to me and I'm just like, fuck off, dude. And then just like, nice to you. But like before the whole season starts, I'm like, yo, Dan, fucking love you, dude. You're my boy. You know, we could be cordial. Like, it's just a game, like whatever. And then all of a sudden I'm there. And I say it all the time. There's a difference between psychological warfare that has to do with breaking down your opponent. And then there is the psychological warfare that is just fucked up. Like, as an athlete, you want to get in your opponent's heads, right? Like, I'll talk that shit all day. All day I'll talk that shit. I'll nick at your armor all fucking day. I'll try and pick out what it is, and it'll be in the way of like, dude, you fucking suck. Like, or dude, you think you're going to do well this challenge? You're not. And then if you don't do well that challenge, I'm going to be like, damn, dude, this is going to be a long season for you. Like, it's about to be rough for you, dude.
Right.
You might as well just go home now. Right? I'm not going to sit there and be like, Alex, this is why your mother doesn't love you. I'm not going to sit
Damn,
there and
man.
be like, damn, this is why you can't hold a relationship longer than 6 months. Like, those are personal jabs where it's like, why?
Yeah,
I feel that one on a personal level.
Yeah, and Dan, we're gonna get your part of it, but before we do that, I do want to bring this up in the chat because I think it goes with not just on the show but on the podcast, Paulie. We got this chat here from pop up from Michael J. Sanchez. Paulie, please, no more seasons leading with pride. It's time to be strategic. We need the fun characters back on the show again.
All right. I heard you guys. I will not come in cursing off the Vacation Alliance because they have all the numbers.
Oh, wait. Did you just mention the Vacation Alliance?
We'll get there.
Oh, we'll get there. It's a thing, guys. I haven't just been talking out of my ass this whole time. But, Michael, thank you. I will do that. All right. I want to win. I want to give you guys a show. You know, when the entertaining characters go home early, it's never fun. You know, listen, I don't know what happened in that realm of the explosion, but clearly nothing too serious happened because it didn't air. Now I'm going to just put this to the people in the chat. Guys, if I was there, do you think that a reaction that I would have had the ability to be left out of the edit?
No.
Okay.
No, I'll speak for them in the chat. No.
I would have, listen, things would have got crazy. I would have probably motherfucked Laurel up and down that kitchen and then motherfucked everybody else in the room for just standing there silent. And people would have been like, why the fuck are you motherfucking me for? It would have been like 50 Cent being like, why the fuck did Floyd say fuck me for? Like, it would have been chaos. It would have been absolute chaos. And I'm glad that this, was shown in the way that it is, right? Because for so many seasons, people are like, why the fuck is Paulie exploding? This is why the fuck I would explode on people, right? Because these people, they would do these things, they would say these things, they would start arguments, they would start fights, and I'm not going to fucking back down. You want to get loud, I'm going to get louder. That's just New Jersey. That's just the Italian, right? And that's just how I do things. Now, there's a lot to unpack about this argument. I want to hear what you guys watched, and I'm just going to speak on it from what I saw. I'm not going to speak on it from what was relayed to me from the source, and I'm also going to not speak on what was relayed to me from everybody else who fucking called me after they got eliminated. Every single person that got eliminated after that fight happened immediately fucking called me and was like, and I'm like, hey guys, listen, like I fucking don't know shit until I get to talk to the person. So, hey, it is what it is. Like, we're just playing a game of telephone. But when I got to speak to the source directly, I'm not going to speak on any of that because, hey, I wasn't there.
And you know what? And you know what? That's fine, because that's why we have spoiler accounts who can talk to us for us. And, you have to be very careful when you're navigating the spoiler accounts and what gets shown to you. It's like you can get spoilers on things you don't want, like boot orders, but you also can get good tidbits. And I wait for someone else to mention a spoiler account talking some shit about breakdowns. This was something I unmuted those chats for to see, so we can talk a little more candidly there from the spoiler account version. But before Dan, I will let you talk. Michael comes back again.
Come back, Michael.
We want you to keep being you. You have the potential to be in the conversations of the West and Bananas of the world, but those guys pick and choose their battle wisely. And you know what? As Paulie said, he's learning. He's gonna go in. He's gonna pick and choose.
Michael, I'm learning. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. It also hurts me inside knowing that people think that, and that I've let you guys down the past 2 seasons, going home early. But nonetheless, I feel like every bounce back story needs, that I needed these things to happen. I needed these lessons to be learned in order to turn me into the kind of player that I need to be in order to, live that out. And I hope that I can live that out, guys. And I will say, I'll say this in the sense so that, production and the network doesn't get upset with me. So I will talk about the spoiler accounts. For people who look at the spoiler accounts, also take with a grain of salt that they deliver information, and that information could be slighted based off of who the person that got eliminated was and how they feel about people when they get eliminated. However, I feel like this situation has been talked about, whether directly or indirectly, by so many castmates, and so many castmates have hinted towards it, that it almost, in a way, once again, coming from the source, validates what was relayed to me from the source. So.
And to the chat, AR, we aren't only answering Michael's because he's paying. We are,
but they do get priority, baby. Listen,
but ask questions in the chat, and we will try to answer them to the best of our ability. So, Dan, I want to hear your perspective of just solely the Michelle Laurel part of it, to Cara coming in.
So, if we're just talking Michelle here, I think it was super mature, which is weird to say when we're talking about reality TV. But Michelle handled this the right way from everything that we saw. She noticed something was going on, and she's all right. Rather than continuing to step on eggshells around Laurel. I'm going to go right to the source and say, hey, I'm getting bad vibes. What can we do? And it's just nothing but condensation from Laurel. And it's everything that we see that she used to do with Cara. And before, like, even going into the Cara part, you just start seeing all the hypocrisy that Laurel constantly brings. Like when she says, oh, I've been doing my best to stay away from Cara, but 30 minutes ago in the episode, we saw both of them, playing paddleball in the back, smacking the ball back and forth. But she's been doing her best to stay away from Cara this entire challenge. So I don't know what world of hypocrisy that Laurel lives in, but it's delusional. It's ridiculous. And I don't know where she gets all of it from.
Well, I think that the levels of delusion come from lack of accountability that she has been forced to take upon herself. Every challenger, with the exception of a few, have had their moments of accountability where they have to step up and say, my bad. Fuck it. Okay. To any of the fans that hype up this type of behavior, okay, you are not doing her any justice here. Okay. Because, and Laurel, I'm going to speak to you directly here. You need a certain level of introspection and looking in the mirror. And I'm not saying this from a place of malice. I'm saying this from a place of somebody who used to operate in a place of extreme pain and operate in a place of extreme anger and didn't realize the ripple effect of my actions, right? I'm saying this as somebody who has gone through the process of taking that introspective look, looking at every single moment from every single season I've done, from every single tweet I've done, from every single rivalry I've had, and been like, okay, where was I good and where was I crossing the line? Okay. And I've been able to make amends with people based off of that introspection. And we all have great relationships. And even if we don't go on to ever be friends again, and the game is going to be the game, at least I can say deep down in my heart, after the level of introspection, that I was able to take my side of it and say, hey, this is what I did in that situation. And I understand how that caused your reaction in that situation. Now, I have my reasons. You have your reasons. We may never see eye to eye. But here's where I crossed the line. Here's where I felt you crossed the line. And that's how adults handle things. Laurel is still stuck in this middle school, high school bully mentality, okay? And she looks to find the people who are good, that people respect, but are weak psychologically in order to beat them down to show the rest of the strong players, if I could do that to this person, you don't want to get in my line of fire. And I was always raised that when there's a bully on the playground and he's got a group, you walk up to the biggest one in the group, the scariest one in the group, and you punch him in the nose as hard as you fucking can. And even if you get your ass beat after that, you proved something. And that bully will never fuck with you again. And none of the people in their crew will ever fuck with you again. Okay? Laurel is essentially a bully that has gone unchecked for her entire challenge career. Okay? Yep. And I'm sorry, and once again, I appreciate everybody that supported, or at least told me they supported, and like, hey, we had a stern talking to, and we said no more. And I'm like, okay, so you put her in timeout. Did she get the belt to the ass, or did you just put her in timeout? Right? Because there's a big difference between sitting somebody down and still walking on eggshells about what they are and being like, yo, fuck you. What you did is absolutely disgusting. It's absolutely unacceptable. And we don't want to see any more of that shit. And we're going to
Yeah.
throw you into every motherfucking elimination that you're available to be thrown into until you go home. And we're actually going to make your life a living fucking hell.
Yeah,
All it takes is for one person, and it doesn't need to be a mob mentality. I don't believe in mob mentality. I don't believe in jumping people. But all it takes is for one person to have the balls to be like, you know what? I don't fucking like that. You motherfucker are on my hit list. And every fucking day, I'd be sitting there being like, you're on the fucking hit list. You're going home. I've done it in seasons where I've seen that type of shit happening. And I said, okay, I see this type of shit happening. I'm honing in on those individuals, and I'm going to literally, with everything I have, every chance I get, they know, fuck, I'm targeted this time around. I'm not safe. And every time I'm fucking trying to fucking relax, trying to unwind, I'm going to walk up to them and be like, glad you're having a good time, but you're not safe. So just so you know, enjoy tonight, but you're not safe. Tomorrow's daily, you better fucking perform, because I'm going to perform and I'm going to throw you in. Okay?
Yeah.
And when they're getting thrown in, I'm going to sit there the whole time. I'm going to be like, now's the day you're going home. And if I don't get you, I'm getting your friends. And if I don't get your friends, I'm going to get your friends' friends. And that is all because of your actions. Okay? So my thing is, there were too many quiet, disgusted faces, right? Normally when there's a fight, there's always people trying to like be the funny people that the camera gets to, where it's like faking eating the popcorn or like sipping the tea or like ooh, smiling. There's not a single smile.
No. Zero.
So my thing is, you have an entire house of people watching whatever was unfolding unfold and didn't say a fucking word. Did not jump in. Did not fucking try to break it up, did not try and pull it away, and just let it happen.
Yeah,
and that to me is weak.
And when the one person who actually, because the one person I will give credit to for trying to get in it, but obviously she's going to get overpowered in it, is Michelle. Like, Michelle is right there in the room with them. She does try to get in between both
Did
of
you
them.
see how red her face was? She was petrified.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And to be fair, most people would be in front of Laurel. And to go off of this, one last point for you, because we do have a question for you directly, is in your honest opinion, do you think Laurel is jealous of Cara for being the face of the challenge? And this is part of what's like in the recent seasons have really amped up Laurel's attitude towards her.
I think, right, and this is me diving into kind of where I'm at now in life. I think that Laurel is an unhappy person on the inside. I think she projects that unhappiness on other people. And I think that when you want what somebody else has and you wish ill will on them, you, in return, will never get what they have. Okay? And that is kind of where it's at. In her mind, it's, if I win these things, I'm going to be this, right? Nobody's doubting the competitive nature of what she is, who she is, what she's accomplished, what she may accomplish in future seasons. The reason why she doesn't resonate and why she will never be the face of the show is because people do not resonate with that. She doesn't do it in a fun, witty fucking way. It's just nasty. It's just mean.
Mm-hmm.
She needs to tear someone down, because I thought it was a little funny when they're going back and forth and it's the heat of it. And she goes, I had your back, Cara. And they go back to rivals. Show that entire clip, because what she does is she goes after Wes. And when she realizes that she can't make Wes bend to her will the way that she wants, what does she do? She goes after Paula and absolutely destroys that woman. Did Paula deserve getting yelled at for some of her part in picking on Cara? Sure. But the way that Laurel just took a flamethrower to her and, you know, called her anorexic, and as you were talking earlier, Paulie, is taking all these low blows and continuing to dig up stuff knowing that it would break her. That's what Laurel does. She tries to break people, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people that she knows how to.
And also, let's take it a step further. Let's take it a step further because she claims I'm the one who's always had your back. They throw it to the rivals clip. You know why she had her back? Because she was her fucking partner, and she needed Cara to be on her game so that she could potentially win the game. Show me a time where she has had Cara's back when they were not partnered up, when they were not reliant on staying in the game with each other. As soon as there is no need, she's done with it. She only wanted Emily here in the beginning of the game because it meant that she could target Cara. Now that the game has shifted, she's like, well, I don't need Emily anymore. She's now just a threat in my game, so I'm going to throw a challenge to get rid of her. Throw the challenge. All love in the world. Do it. Own it. She doesn't own her shit. She doesn't own the nasty shit that she does. And that's where the disrespect happens. Like, say what you will about any of the other people who do that shit. Like the Bananas, the Wesses, like all the greats in the game who have done it. They at least say it to them, and they also say it to the camera. Like, she hides behind that confessional. And not only that, you can tell she's grasping at straws in these confessionals because she's bumbling over her words. She either is bumbling over her words or looks like she's reading a fucking script. And that's where you lose me. You lose the argument when you can't even have the foresight to understand what you're trying to argue. You're trying to say all these things, and you're projecting onto Cara your things. You're saying Cara is a child. Cara is stuck in an adolescent brain. But it's you who's acting like a toddler when you're being confronted. When the bully gets confronted, they don't know how to react. So they're spinning. They're going into like their childhood of like, shit, they're trying to turn it on me. What do I got to do? Let me find the really thing that's going to really stick it into them. Something that they told me in confidence that I'm going to throw in your face. I'm going to break you here. Which obviously wasn't shown.
And let's just call it what it is, dude. Like on All Stars 4, you're literally screaming at her, being like, when was the fucking last time we spoke? Fucking years, 15 years. Like, dude, there's one clip. There is one clip of Laurel being fucking nice to Cara. One.
Mm-hmm.
One. Okay? And like, let's stop trying to humanize the situation here off of that one clip to try and unravel every single fucking other clip that is the counter argument to that. Right? So it's like, once again, she's losing the argument because she does not want to, she expected Cara to just shell up. Cara didn't. Okay? The argument's getting lost. Projection sinks in. Cara hit her with a fucking dig, saying you're fucking gaslighting me, and that set her off because that's actually what the fuck she was doing. Okay? And now, Laurel tried to turn it on her because Laurel takes a low blow and she lies, and that's what she does. By trying to bring me up, that doesn't break Cara. It wasn't shown what actually broke Cara, but the levels in which she took it in order to break Cara was absolutely repulsive and disgusting. And if anybody else in the fucking challenge world did that, gone.
Yeah.
Gone.
They said they banned Ashley for a few seasons for, I would argue, like, still something sensitive. I'll preface that because everyone knows what I'm talking about here.
I don't know what it is.
In the argument with Josh, it's alleged because it's never shown that she questioned his sexuality. Which is something that has happened a lot on Twitter, all that. But she questioned his sexuality. She was then essentially shadow banned for a few seasons. Obviously, she's coming back on All Stars 5. Partnered with Anissa, so that's sort of like, hey, here's your punishment. But it's like,
it's what this
is a similar thing where they aren't showing what she said. But I feel, if any of it is true of what like has been spread out there, it's some vile shit that like just shouldn't fly. I would call them comparable in the ways that it can psychologically break you down in a non-game sense. Because the rumors were that like Cara left that house. She left that house for a period of time. I know you can't speak on it, Paulie.
Can't speak on it.
And we haven't discussed that. Right. I want to emphasize that, but
no, that's coming from the spoiler accounts.
Yeah, the rumors from the spoiler accounts
as it was happening.
She had to leave. She comes back.
Castmates are talking about it, and the thing is, I'm used to being the scapegoat here, okay? Because here's how challengers like Laurel operate, right? And we've seen it in the past, okay? Cara has a huge support system, huge following. Her fans, some would say, are rabid, okay? They just have massive support for her. If you just go for her, everything gets unleashed, everything gets unloaded. You are the focus point of their hatred.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The second that you try and spin me into it is the second that you're only doing that to try and spread the hate, right? And be like, oh, fuck, let's not focus on what the hell is actually happening. Hold on. She said Paulie's name. Yeah, wait, hold on. We fucking hate that guy. Yeah. All right. Yeah. And it's like, I'm used to being the scapegoat. It's old. It's tired at this point. And I'm so sick and tired of people who in one season will sit there and be like, I don't know you. You don't know me. We don't talk. Trying to sit here and once again be like, oh, you like what happens to you? Like what happens to you? It's like, bitch, you don't know. You don't fucking know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're in your own, you got your vet degree and you ain't even a vet. What are you doing with your life?
Who's trusting her with animals? That's all I'm saying.
I know personal things about her that I could just fucking level her with. Things about her relationships, things about her and how she is with animals. Okay? You got to understand, I lived in fucking Montana. I know people that she fucking worked for on fucking farms, on shit like that, who have fucking said things to me about how they feel about how she worked on those fucking farms with the fucking animals. I have spoken to people that she has been in relationships with. But the thing is, I'm not going to take it there. I'm not going to go low because what the fuck does that get me? Yeah, in a game, I don't fucking like you, dude. I'm going to go after you. I'm going to do that. I'm going to try and break you down mentally with this. I'm not going to bring up things that have happened to her. She has had things happen to her that she has disclosed to people in confidence. What kind of fucking person would I be if I turn around and say, you only act like this because this happened to you? That's a piece of shit. Okay? Mm-hmm. And that's where she doesn't understand the fucking lines. And she's a liar. She's a gaslighter. She takes low blows. I mean, for fuck's sake, dude. A couple episodes ago, she's fucking coming at Darrell trying to make him look bad for his wife and kids. And then we show the fucking massage. Okay? Now, like, I get it. Nobody's ever going to show the positive things or the fun times on the show, right? Because Cara and I have always been the staple of attention of a divided house. We got to get them out. They're rallying this. They're doing that. I get it. I'm a villain. I'll take it. I love it. Mm-hmm. I'm a villain for your television screens. But what I'm not going to do is sit here and stand for any character slander when it comes to people who just throw out shit for the sake of throwing out shit. And once again, we could call your exes, right? We could talk about the restraining orders. We could talk about all that shit. But where would it get us? Okay? If me and you were arguing in a game about a game and I'm just like, yeah, all right, this is why this fucking happened. Who's the asshole? I'm the asshole. Your reaction based off of me being the asshole initially stems from me being the asshole. Okay? And the fact that in the conversation, she could not break Cara. And we saw her try to break Cara on All-Stars 4. She couldn't. And the fact that she kept trying to do it again, and she couldn't, so she just kept going lower and lower and lower. That speaks to everything you need to know about her. And that's why I say, Laurel, just take the fucking introspective look. Find God. Do something that allows you to be like, wait a second. I am a strong, competitive animal. I don't need to be this. I can get into people's head just because of my intimidation factor on the show. I don't need to do this.
Yeah. And we have a lot of people in the chat who agree with you. They would not give their dogs, their fish, their cat, whatever. Don't give it to them. Don't bring them to Springfield, as we all know. But But we got, so this is actually brings up a good point that Michael did bring up, which is, and I'll break it down for him as well. Is why are they watering down the edits these days? Is it because of PC culture now and the relationships with CBS? It's yes and no there. That's partial. That's a tiny bit of the reason. There's a lot of other stuff behind the fact. They want people that they can consistently bring back. And if they show a full edit of some of these people, they would never be able to actually bring them back onto the show. That's one. So they're trying to protect their assets here.
Let me ask you guys something. If I ever got into an argument, and no matter how valid my points were in the argument, the second that I made a low blow.
Is it being shown?
Is it being shown?
It's being
100%.
shown.
Okay. I'll just leave that there.
Right.
Okay.
They pick and choose who they want to be more protective of than others. And they try to keep things vague. My personal opinion is they love keeping shit vague when it comes to Cara Maria because they love the interaction that it overall gets. Because what happens? I bet when the numbers come out, this is going to be one of their highest viewed episodes of the season because of the anticipation.
And social media is going to get engagement.
Yeah, they use the tears that come from this aftermath, but they don't show the full thing because they want it to be like, well, Laurel did talk to Kylan, and Kylan said that he would trust her opinion. So we have a both sides here. We really have a both sides of the argument instead of showing the true thing. Because you brought up a good point, Paulie. You were like, when Laurel is storming out because security is basically making her storm out, we see people looking. Who's snickering? Who's smiling? Who's laughing in the corner? No, you even have everyone with a disgusted face on them. Should they have spoken up? Absolutely. Because I'm similar way as you, Paulie. I'm Northeast. This doesn't fly. If you're bullying, you stand up to your bully. It's hard to, but if you see someone getting bullied, you stand up. I've seen so many people get bullied. I'm the one who stood up when it mattered. And because you have to be a voice for someone who is voiceless at times. And you are sometimes voiceless with not because you want to be, but because of just the overall experience can just weigh you down, and you need someone to come to you to bring you back up and realize who the fuck you are. And that's what Cara was doing with Michelle there.
And the thing is, these moments are teachable moments, and everybody has accountability days. Naya had to take accountability for her shit. Jordan has had to take accountability. D has had to take accountability. I have had to take accountability. We could go through the list. I'm sure I'm forgetting people that have had to take accountability. I'm sure Ashley will have to take accountability at some point. What we are doing here is we are not allowing accountability to be had. And once again, hate to bring her up, but Camilla is a prime example of this. When you let it go for too long without the accountability happening, it just keeps unraveling because they believe they are untouchable. And they believe they can do and say whatever the fuck they want until it gets to a point where it's like, holy shit, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was going to bring her up next, actually. And I was going to pull it to you, Dan. I was like, I feel like we have hit that point. I've seen people talking about Twitter 2 weeks ago on the last episode. Is Laurel not in the same way, but in the sense that Paulie's talking, is she reaching the Camilla point?
She's one sentence away from it.
She 100% is reaching the Camilla point. And my biggest thing with it is if they don't want to show us how nasty Laurel got, I understand that because, from what some of the reports are, I get why you wouldn't want to show that on TV. I even understand why you may want to edit things a certain way. What I can't understand from Una Murray for how they produced this episode and showed is why was there a Laurel side? Just show me everything that's burying her and people that are coming to Cara's defense. I don't need to keep getting, the tidbits from her confessionals, though I completely agree with you, Alex.
Where were the confessionals of all the people with shocked faces?
Yeah,
right.
All that.
Outside of Ryan.
Where was Devin's? Where was fucking Corey's? Where was Rachel's? Where was Michelle's?
Yeah.
Where were they?
So that was my biggest issue with it, was that we almost had it going back to and justifying Laurel's behavior, when in reality, what this was this should have been all the way to
And you got Kylan who can't pull his tongue out of her ass. Like, dude, fuck you.
Yeah, and the Kylan part of it, like the only way I can even rationalize what he's doing is in his mind. He's like, well, I'm not gonna target Laurel over this because
No,
Laurel's
it's because
gonna
he was
be
trying
power.
to fuck
It's like,
her.
right. Kylan's a sneaky player, people. Y'all need to realize this. But I will say
think
the
that's
biggest
yeah.
the biggest judge of character though, and what I will trust more. I trust someone like Nehemiah. We've talked to him on the podcast before. I think he has a level head on his shoulder. I think he's
Did
mature.
a live.
I think he's mature beyond his years. He's like, there is toxicity within our group. He had full vacancy. If he felt the real issue was Cara, he could have picked Cara. He picked Laurel. And that that decision speaks volumes because he knows what happens if he picks Laurel and not Cara there. He picks Cara, like no one's gonna bat an eyelash. But him picking Laurel, he knows the ramifications of picking her, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm picking like my conscience here."
What I'm calling for is, they just set precedents last episode. We almost never see them release the tape, and that went to a different controversy of the Derek Horacio thing. Not that we necessarily need to see the tape. Release that out somewhere and then tell me that Laurel isn't the next Camilla, because while there may not be the same horrible racist things that she said there, I guarantee you she hit a number of other check boxes of that 100% puts her as in this generation's Camilla.
And you know what? If one of the issues is the names being involved, there's a thing called a bleep button. Bleep out the names, let the argument play out. Like
here's my thing that I've always said with Laurel. I never met her. I never knew her. All I knew of her is from what Cara had told me. I come into War of the Worlds 2, arms wide open, ready to work. I was not mean to that girl at all. My problem came with her when she did interviews after the show, and she knew nothing about me. She knew nothing about the relationship. She knew nothing about anything. And she would sit there and be like, I don't know. I heard that he's kind of like, certain past people that she's dated, and that's not really. So it's like, what the fuck she's been through. You know that. Okay? And now you're trying to play into that. And once again, tried to play into it again here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that is my biggest problem with Laura. This bitch don't know me. I stay off the grid for the most part. What you see on interviews and what you see on podcasts and stuff, it's what I want you to know and what I want you to hear. You don't know anything about me. You don't know anything about my life, right? You said on All Stars 4, you know nothing about Cara's life. But all of a sudden, you're the fucking genie guru of knowing what the fuck everything is. It's like, and then you actually reiterated the things of those past things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so where are we at? Where are we at here? Just admit that you took low blows. Just be like, yeah, I crossed the fucking line. I crossed the line, and I'm sorry. It would go so far if she said, across the fucking line, I'm sorry. I'm going to fucking, start looking into some of my own fucking demons. Like we've all done. We all got demons. We're on the challenge. We're all fucked in the head to a certain extent. But you got to know when to not double down and when to sit there. Like there's doubling down in the sense of like trying to hype up a good TV moment and hype up a good TV character. And then there's the doubling down where it's like, you look stupid. And she's at the point of doubling down where she looks stupid. And she would get way further if she just took the accountability, allowed people to vent their shit, took it, and just went. The hate would stop because it would die down. It'd be like, yo, dude, she took accountability. What more do you fucking want from the girl?
Right. Like
okay?
People will still hate, but
Apologize.
like whatever.
People will still fucking hate.
Yeah.
But the doubling down is why she's getting piled on right now. Okay? Because she's doubling down, knowing what the fuck she did and said. The whole cast knows what the fuck she did and said. And she's the only one in her little world that's like, I didn't do anything wrong. This is Cara's fault. Dude, I don't care if she's all right. She is an annoying little child. All right, when your child's being annoying, do you fucking punt them across the room? Right? Like you discipline your child if they do something wrong. You don't discipline your child for just being a fucking child. You know what I mean? And like, that's it. Like, okay, dude. So she annoys you. That means that you got to fucking sink to the levels that you did. There's a lot of people in that fucking house that annoy me. I don't fucking sink to the level to fucking go there. I once did. A lot of my shit was factual. But I even realized that regardless of whether it's true or not, saying it is wrong.
Not Brad.
Only God can deliver like the true justice. Only karma can deliver the true justice. It's not my job to create that justice and create that karma. It's out of my hands. It's out of my control. What I can do is I can sit there and I can pray for the individual. I can pray for myself and I can hope that it turns out in a certain way. But if I'm wrong, I'm going to sit there and be like, yeah, I was fucking wrong.
Yeah.
My bad. My bad. Sorry. Yeah, I shouldn't have went there, dude. Like, yeah, you fucking were saying shit. You were doing shit. I didn't like it. I still have control of whether I go there or not. Me. If I've healed myself, if I've taken an introspective look, if I do that now, I've said numerous times, I don't fucking need to be nice to people, but I also don't need to fucking low blow them.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I do want to capstone this on Cara's part, not like her part in it, but more so, like I was just so fucked. Like, for me being like, I get it. We're gonna get the comments like, "Oh, you're the Cara stan." You know what? Fuck it. I am a Cara stan, and you know what? I was proud of her. I was proud of her in standing on business. I'm proud of her for sticking up for someone else, and in a way, also being able to stick up for herself in that moment. She doesn't break down until it's done and done. Like, she stood on her business. She did what everyone in that fucking house should have been doing, and that's if you're getting someone talking down on you.
To say. But
right.
But they don't. They walk on fucking eggshells. Why? There's security there.
Yeah. You can tell how bad it is when the fact is we know which side Bananas is on. We know he's friends with Laurel. He's Team Laurel. He's hasn't gotten along with Cara. Most of the seasons they've done. When the confessional that they show is him just saying that they can't get along and he can't even back her, I think that says a lot as well.
I mean, listen, man, the man's smart. He knows. like Mike said, pick and choose your battles, right?
Yeah.
Right.
When the pot stirrer is like, I ain't touching that pot.
Mm-hmm.
Something's off.
You know what? We can relay this into what the other aspects of this episode is, because there was a rumor that was being laced out during the episode tonight that I think has more traction than people would give credence to. So someone was putting out there a feeler that did Laurel really throw the challenge? Maybe she did throw it because she was threatened by Emily. The other thing she's threatened by is Emily's relationship to Bananas. Because as much as Bananas will say, yeah, I fuck with Laurel, like we'd won before on Free Agents, like I know her, like we're good. He has a bigger relationship with Emily. I think heart of hearts, you made him put the hand to God, and you said who would be your number one girl, Emily or Laurel? He says Emily, and that's just on business.
But once again, that shows the strategic gaming side of her.
But say it.
That was a smart fucking move. Say it.
Right.
You're like, yeah, I fucking threw this, dude. Fuck Emily. I don't want to hear her in a final. Right? Like, hey, say what you want about Josh. When he didn't take the fucking lead role, when he promised he would, he was like, yeah, I'm not taking that fucking lead role. I don't want to go against CT.
Yeah. And you know what? And he took it on the chin when his team bashed him tonight for it. When Olivia's bashing him over the head, being like, I don't want to play with chicken shit players. You can't just hide your hand because someone mentioned to you on the way in, oh, CT wants to nominate himself because he heard you're going in. So fucking what?
The only thing I didn't understand from it was him saying, oh no, everyone's gonna, they're just gonna vote you to throw you in. It's like, but Josh, you have more friends in that house outside of everyone but like a Tori and a Devin and a Bananas. How are you going to be in the position that you're going to be voted in? It's unlikely.
Yeah, you would have to get last place.
But, speaking of Vacation Alliance, Paulie tried to tell you. Back in episode 1, Alex and I have talked about this for seasons now. And finally it gets acknowledged. So everyone in the comments on past videos, we appreciate you listening and commenting. Appreciate that a lot. Yeah, love that. But I think now you shouldn't have to ask who's in this so-called Vacation Alliance anymore. I think the edit did a pretty good job of laying that one out.
Yeah, but you know what, Josh? Own it. Own it, Josh. Say it's a real thing. Don't say, oh, I'm sick and tired of the fans calling us out for something that's real.
And I will say, nobody's jealous of you guys for dominating seasons.
No.
Nobody.
You're the newest conglomerate that's doing it.
But once again, I will speak to the fact, like, all right, Nehemiah caved. Like, Nehemiah was like one of the biggest fuck the Vacation Alliance people and then tried to cut a deal with him.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, the other thing that I think is a misconception, it's because these seasons are so long now and we're not getting as many in a year as we have to. It's Total Madness, it really wasn't a thing. It was Double Agents, Spies, Lies, and Allies, and Ride or Dies. So they dominated this short 3-section run where there were people noticeably absent, mainly the guy in the middle, and
dude, could you imagine
Cara and stuff like that?
Gave me and Cara our whole alliance from War of the Worlds 2. Do you think Total Madness would have ended up the way it did?
Most likely not. Like, no matter what, it would have had a different result. You add some people and you take some of the, the bad parts out, and you got a whole different season on your hands. But I'm just glad that they admitted it. I'm glad they admitted it. I don't care that they're like, oh, a fan called us it. It does not matter.
Is it going to change anything, though? Because you see exactly what I've broken down in numerous podcasts of how they operate. They come in as a group. They gather in what people they can. The other people feel afraid that they're on the outs, so then they try and cut deals. You're never winning. You're never and credit to Devin. Devin fucking flipped it on him like a pro. Like a fucking pro. Okay.
Yeah, he flipped
like a damn pro.
Well,
and
if you want
the Vacation Alliance out, you got to come in. You got to be like, that's them. Where do we all stand? Are we going to let them run the game again? Or are we all going to just be like, yeah, if any of us win, fuck them?
And I feel like it brought a bad decision point. Like, the Vacation Alliance almost harmed itself with what happens in this episode, because it's showing exactly what you were saying, Paulie. It's like you had Nehemiah trying to strike a deal with them, or specifically with Devin, but really the Vacation Alliance. You have Kylan essentially being like, dude, I came in wanting to save Nehemiah, but because the Vacation Alliance is exposing that he wanted a deal, I'm going to side with the Vacation Alliance.
Look what they did.
Weak players, weak, boring, losers, boring.
Look what they did in episode 1. Corey's already having buyer's remorse, realizing, oh, well, I didn't throw Jordan in, and now I don't know if I can trust Jordan, Tori, or Devin. It's half his team right there.
Hello, guys.
We're 5 episodes in, and he's already realizing he's screwed.
Here?
Right. It's like they're allowing these little, like, small things, like, blind them to the fact. But I'm like, and, like, Tina sees it. Like, Era 1 sees it. Some of Era 2 sees it.
And can't win for shit.
No, Era 1 can't win for shit, but they're entertaining as fuck with them not being able to do anything. But it's like you are showing the narrative that Era 1 has been wanting to perpetuate, and that's that Era 3 and Era 4 are joining forces and they aren't going to touch each other, which should then, like, ring those bells if you're the rest of Era 1, rest of Era 2, be like, and if you're on the outs in either Era 3, Era 4, be like, well, I don't want to be the one who gets the brunt of it. Like, let's figure this way out to start picking off these people, because they're showing that they can finagle their way out of these situations with weak-minded players. But if you have a stronger-minded player, like if Akara is in that position of winning power, she's not going to, like, I feel, Cal down unless it's absolutely beneficial for her. Like if there's a really more of a I will scratch your back, but you owe me big. Not just, oh, I'm gonna do it and maybe I now get to be the 8th member.
Well, Era 3 is really in the best position because it's where they have the most members. They're going to be good with Era 4. They have enough connections in Era 2 that they're going to get, some leeway back there. And Era 2 really doesn't have any other choice because other than to make a deal with Era 3, because Era 1 is such a dumpster fire, you can't count on them to win anything, to have any support. So it really comes down to
I wonder who
Era 3.
said that, and fans said that was a controversial take and that blah, 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 blah. Oh, that's right. That was me. Oh, I said that. Hey, guys, is it time to admit that maybe the Era 1ers should stay on All-Stars? I think so.
Here,
It can be made.
It's in the comments. This will be hopefully the last time we have to say it. Paulie, break it down. Who's in the Vacation Alliance? Say one more time, once and for all.
The specific thing that AR is asking is that we all know it's the core is Josh, Devin, Tori, Fessy, Anissa,
Casey.
And Casey. They keep forgetting Casey in here.
Well,
what happens here is from there, they then use the relationships to grow. It's basically a Big Brother strategy of the parachute. Each person brings another person in, or someone like a Banana sees the usefulness of them and goes like, okay, I'll side with them because then I get the cakewalk to a final.
Everybody that says he didn't start it or he wasn't in it just because it wasn't prominent on Total Madness, how did he make the final?
He had no reason to.
Because of them. And I remember after he won the final, before it even aired, every single person in the Vacation Alliance tweeted, oh, got a lot of really good news today. Oh, good news travels fast. You're not hiding anything, guys. Like, as happy as I will be for anybody to win, if I didn't win, I'm not that happy to subliminally tweet happiness for somebody winning. Plus, I'm also a fucking pro, and I'm not a little fucking idiot like a lot of these castmates are.
And this was even before they started giving off chunks of their money. Like Bananas kept that whole $500,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, thanks. My bank account's now richer.
Yeah.
See y'all next season.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Bananas gets in by proxy, which then gets Laurel in by proxy. Jordan gets in by proxy. You see how easy it is. A showmance gets Michelle in by proxy, which then gets Olivia in by proxy. And that's how it works. That's how the parachute game works, guys. So it always starts with the core. And that's why they make it far. Because the core spreads their tentacles out, grabs a couple people, and those people are interchangeable every season. Now, if Devin and Michelle are still dating, which they're going strong, now there's another one in there, regardless. I'm almost at a point where I'm like, am I really should I join it? Like, should I go into the next season and be like, that's it. All the rest of you are pussies. You don't like playing the game. You're all going to get fucking picked off by them anyway. I'd rather make it to the final 8 people and then battle it out with them, knowing I'm going to go into every fucking elimination.
Yeah, what
you should do, push over fucking soft ass kissing pussies.
That's called the Devin, going from Big Brother sucks to these are my best friends.
Be the core who's like, I'll make all these stupid decisions that benefit you, and when I keep finding myself in elimination, it's okay. You can just stay being a mafia boss in the confessional room, like talking your shit on them, but like still like kowtowing to them. Then you're like, hey, maybe I'll get to the final. But then you'll end up in an elimination against Josh. You'll beat Josh, and then you're in the final. As things go.
John A thought she was in the Vacation Alliance.
Yeah, it's like. Yeah, so the John A part of it.
I am not downplaying. When I say these people are very disarming, they're not scrubs at the social aspect of the game. They're not. And when you insert a Tori, who's a threat on the female side, and when you insert a Jordan, who's a threat on the male side, that rides the intimidation factor. Now throw Bananas in there, throw Laurel in there. those are the 4 people that can win to keep the whole group safe.
Yeah.
And then if anybody else wins, they don't take the shot at anybody.
Yeah.
No, they're too scared of retribution.
Yeah. So we have all this. We have the challenge. It's the your fast pass or whatever. It's bringing those oblong, like the wishbone as CT calls it, through like a bunch of trees. You have to grab sandbags. You have to balance it. And this is also another reason where Laurel's like, how dare Nehemiah nominate me? That's such a dumb move on his part. He knew you through the challenge, babe. Like be smart about it. If you're gonna throw, be smart. Like, don't just barely touch the thing and then stop. Like, don't do all that shit. Era 4 rocked out.
I don't know why Nehemiah is fucking targeting me. You threw the challenge.
Yeah.
I don't know why Paulie and Cara targeted us on War of the Worlds 2. You threw the challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't forget that shit. Hence why it didn't matter how nice they were to me after that. And when the numbers flipped, I was like, yeah, I still remember that. You remember week 3? I remember that shit. You were all in on it.
The downside for them was War of the Worlds 2, or I guess it's downside, I don't know, for other people, is in War of the Worlds 2, there were only 2 teams. In season 40, there's 4, and it doesn't matter if you throw a challenge. Era 1 still exists. And as long as they still exist, I don't know how they don't come in last.
No, truly. They are always going to come in last. Oh, and the other tidbit, if you guys didn't know, because it is news. It is news. Like breaking news happening now on this episode. Did you guys know that Tori has to be on a team once again with her ex-fiance?
Crazy.
I never knew.
At least he doesn't negotiate with terrorists. That's all I'm thankful for.
I don't know. He negotiated with Laurel.
Fair.
That's very true.
I'm just calling it how I see it, Jordan. I love you. I love you, though.
Dude, I'm telling you, Jordan's possibly playing one of the best games of his life.
I would agree. One
of the best games of his life.
Yeah.
Like, if this is his swan song and he ends up pulling this out of the bag, probably goes down in history as one of the best played games by an individual ever.
Could easily happen. So we see all the breakdown. We see like CT, Tina, don't say shit. They get to see Era 2, Era 3 explode. Brings us to elimination because Emily and Nehemiah are the ones that go down. I listened to Emily's live with Frank Sweeney before this. She wasn't too happy with getting a carnival game, essentially. Once again, some call outs of the production quality of everything.
Oh, really? What
elimination. The boards themselves, like things about the board. She wouldn't go into like full detail, but like she was like, they're. It was not.
I mean, it looked like Tina's nails just fell out. Emily's a strong girl.
It's CT. Nehemiah.
I was going to say, listen, I love Tina. Everything that she brings to.
She goes to Home Depot.
Yeah, love her. But when she's the only one that can do this and they come out and it doesn't work for Emily, you'd argue stronger than Tina. Doesn't work for Nehemiah and CT. No offense, stronger than Tina. Tina shouldn't be falling out that easily.
It really calls into question because, like, I know Tina's funny as hell. She's funny as hell. But, like, Emily just came back after 12 years. 12 years. And the first elimination you want her to lose in is unhooking 100 nails and hammering them back in. That's the elimination you want this to happen on? Like,
I mean, guys, the writing's on the wall for Era 1.
They're not going to escape these conspiracies.
Writing's on the wall for Era 1. God, it's lining up to be a very poor showing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take away from any of their resumes. But it does, back some of my claims.
I was sort of surprised that when it came to the guys that CT didn't just have to stare at the board and all the nails pop out. Like, I was expecting them to just be like barely on. Like, we can lose Nehemiah.
The guy's in construction.
Yeah. I was shocked. I was shocked there.
Guys in construction, and Tina can pull out nails better than him. I mean, listen, I get it. You go to Home Depot. Do you build your furniture too?
I don't think she has IKEA furniture, which requires it to happen. I'm assuming she's well enough off that it just gets delivered.
Yeah, or she helps pick it out. Maybe she does do a couple craft projects
she
here
helps
and there.
Pick it out, sit down, and pours herself a glass of wine. That's, she's probably great at pulling corks out of wine bottles, nails out of a board.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just like it was such a lackluster thing. Like, and if anyone who's listening to this podcast back, which thank you if you're still here, still listening, we love all of you, and we loved all the comments tonight. It's like there's a reason why we spent like 50 of the minutes here talking about the Cara Laurel situation, because the rest of this episode was bland. And I don't, especially for knowing that we leave here losing Emily, losing CT, is like two big names, and you had nothing for it. You had nothing to show for them. Give them a good like elimination to be in, where if they lose, you're like, damn, I'm so impressed by Tina. I'm so impressed by Nehemiah. It's like you leave this elimination. It's a similar feeling I felt with the Rachel Cara elimination in All Stars. It's like, hey, you played elimination, you're dealt. Is it exciting? No.
The only thing that I found somewhat humorous is because Nehemiah kept referencing, the last time I was on the show, as if we forget that he was on several seasons of All Stars.
It's so
great.
weird.
And he did well.
Yeah, he did well on all that.
It was a face.
But also the fact that he goes back to his last elimination where he lost to CT. It's like, all right, well, A, that was like, that's prime CT. B, he had Evan with him, who was fat, out of shape, and came there just to help Johnny and Kenny. Like, that was his partner. It was a rough one.
Yeah, but we do leave here with some new targets. To the shock of Era 2, Laurel and Bananas. Brad raises his hand, which is going to bode so well for him. I expect next episode we say goodbye to Brad. Rachel is here. Brad's. You know what? I have a bigger theory here. Brad nominated himself so that he could be eliminated next, so that he could see Emily. He's just like,
that band together. It's gonna be sweet.
Would you blame him?
No. I absolutely wouldn't.
Like, listen, CT can stay.
It was
like,
hot
I'll
in
get
Vietnam.
on the plane.
The van definitely gets musty out there.
The van, the beard, all of it. We see Corey actually nominate himself this time. We see John A's big issue of betting that Nehemiah would not put her in, and he still does, which is a choice. I guess he could put in Avery or Nia. He has a good relationship with Nia. He was never going to pick Nia. No. It would either be John A or Avery. So he picks John A. Then we get Jenny and Josh. And Jenny is about to go Terminator pissed on people for getting nominated again. But I'm like, girl, when you look like that, you're going to get targeted.
Jenny's Terminator piss probably goes along something like, hey, so you nominate me then? And that was your thought, right? All right, yeah, then I guess we'll just get on with it then. It's like, all right, sick drag, Jenny.
My only thought process with that is it pans to Jenny, and I see Casey in the background. I'm like, son of a bitch, she still is there.
And you know what? Before we finish out, AR has been asking this question relentlessly. I do want to make sure we get it. And I believe the answer is yes. Would Jordan be as protected without Tori there? Yeah. Like, obviously, he's more protected Jordan. With her there, but like,
he's Jordan.
Yeah. Before Tori came along, dude had Sarah on his side, Laurel on his side. Like, Jordan has Jordan on his side. Jordan has just God on his side at this point. Like,
Jordan might be the second coming of Christ.
It's
you could debate it.
You could debate it because
it's debatable.
It's, speaking of Jordan, it's why, if he were be able to pull this off, I think it's why it really goes.
I have information from a source that editing of a video might be dropping.
Oh,
at some point in the
Ugh.
next 48 hours.
Uh-oh.
Continue.
We'll see.
oh, but so it's just speaking of how impressive George is because this isn't to take a knock at CT whatsoever. Do you know what his elimination record is?
He has more
No.
losses than wins. That's all
He's
I know.
five. If you take in some of the other, champs versus stars or whatever, from what I saw on just flagship seasons, he's now 6-6.
How many
Which,
of them are the DQs?
Well, no, that's just in eliminations. I know I think he only has 1 or 2 DQs in eliminations.
He has
I
at
mean,
least one. I know it.
It's the one against Brad in the duel.
Yeah, the
Yep.
one against Brad.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
the full carabiner, yeah.
I think it's just that's
And
why I always
lost,
like to talk
He
about.
lost that choo-choo elimination because Adam was actively throwing it.
Yeah, Adam
was
actively
actually throwing it. Yeah.
And then he lost to Jay because he was severely out of shape.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would give him 6-6 with an asterisk, 8-4.
Yeah, it's actually crazy to think about his elimination history, where it's like for someone who you would think production would be like foaming at the mouth to give up physical eliminations to, he hasn't really had that many physical like.
He hasn't done eliminations.
I think that was a strategic legal thing. After he murdered people in friggin' some of the things.
They're like, you're getting puzzles for now.
Now, do we count his mercenary moment as a win? We got it.
So
you do. I think you do technically count it because I think they do count it for Derek when he came in.
This is something I wanted to mention because I know, Alex, you and I have talked about it on the pod before in the past. CT and Tina going into elimination here for the first time since the mercenary moment, because most people will forget, Tina was the heavy hitter mercenary that they brought in on Cutthroat, who lost both of her eliminations. But she was the one that came in with CT.
And honestly, I would like to put it out there for any challenge fans that, call certain games or try to say people play a certain way. The GOAT himself, CT, said the number one rule is to avoid eliminations in tonight's episode.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only way you're guaranteed money is making it to the end.
That's facts.
So, Mike, I'm going to listen to your advice, buddy.
Yes. Thank you, Mike. Thank you all the viewers also who followed along through this podcast. I think it was one of our better ones yet. And it's only going to keep getting better here. Dan, bring us home.
Yeah, that's going to wrap it up for us. We will be back covering episode 6 next Wednesday, same time. We'll be going live 10 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday night. If you're looking for other reality TV coverage, I know Johnny Fairplay, Matt Bischoff, and Wayne Mehmet, they are covering the season premiere of Survivor tonight, as well as I think Johnny's doing some other Survivor coverage. On the Reality After Show, you'll have Jen Hoffman and Rachel doing Big Brother coverage. Lauren and Adrian are doing the anonymous coverage. If there's a reality show out there, we're pretty much covering it somewhere. But as always, we want to thank you guys because we're talking The Challenge. It's our favorite show to talk about. For everyone that's watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell. That way you get notified every time we go live. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you may be getting them at, please take just 30 seconds, rate and review us 5 stars. And as always, the best way to support the podcast is become a patron at realitypatron.com. Sign up for a month. If you don't like it, Johnny Fairplay will give you your money back. But I'm Dan. That's Alex. That's Paulie. We will see you all next Wednesday.